and welcome back to episode 19. You don't know until you do. You ever sit in a room where people start talking about mental health like it's just another topic on the agenda? Like it's something that they've mastered because they've read the right books, gone to the right trainings, and can quote all the right phrases? Meanwhile, you're sitting there quietly, knowing this conversation is nothing like what it feels like to actually live it. Because while they talk about coping mechanisms and resilience, you're just trying to make it through the day. You're pulling your ADHD and depression meds out of your bag under the table, embarrassed, not because you're ashamed, but because you already know how fast judgment fills a room like this. You take a sip of water, swallow, and hope no one notices. I'm not saying it's okay to wallow in self-pity, but mental health, it's more than just an illness. It becomes part of who you are. Not because you want it to, but because it shapes how you think, how you feel, and how you show up in the world. It's so exhausting. Always holding it together every single day, just trying to act fine. Because people love strength. They reward composure, and they don't know the cost of it. You get good at pretending, at smiling when your mind feels heavy, and at keeping your tone light when inside, you're just trying to not unravel. I was recently in a training in a room full of people discussing mental health. Some of them worked in the field as counselors, program directors, etc. I mean, these are people who could recite the DSM, who knew the clinical definitions, and who'd probably taught others about understanding and empathy. And that's what made this so sad. Because as they debated whether depression was curable or just a permanent chemical imbalance, all I could think was, you can work in this field your whole life and still not understand it. You can learn it from textbooks, you can sit in lectures, but until it's you, until you've sat in your car just trying to convince yourself to walk into work, or until you've gone home and laid in silence because your mind won't stop, until you've watched someone you love completely unravel and felt helpless to fix it, you don't really get it. That was the hardest part, sitting there, surrounded by professionals, realizing that knowledge doesn't equal understanding. I wanted to leave. Everything in me wanted to get up and walk out. But I stayed because it was my obligation to be there, to complete the training, and to do what was expected. So I sat there, my heart pounding, surrounded by strangers who thought they understood, and I stayed quiet because anything I said would have felt invisible anyway. People love to simplify mental health. They want a clear-cut answer. It's chemical. It's situational. It's curable. It's not. They dissect it like a science project, but it's not a formula. It's a lived experience. It's messy. It shifts. It doesn't follow neat definitions or fit inside a PowerPoint slide. And that's what gets lost when the conversation is all theory and no empathy. Because behind every diagnosis is a person, one who's probably tired of explaining themselves to people who claim to understand but don't. Mental illness isn't just something I manage, it's something I carry. Some days it's light, other days it's heavy enough to crush me. And yeah, I take my meds, not because I'm broken, but because they help me be who I am beneath the noise. They don't make me weak. It does make me self-aware. It makes me someone who's decided to fight back instead of giving up. Still, it's hard not to feel alone when people talk about this stuff like it's hypothetical. Well, for you, it's life. The truth is, it takes more strength to live with a mental illness than most people will ever know. To keep showing up, to keep pretending, to keep trying. Even when you're misunderstood, even when you're dismissed. It's not pity, it's perseverance. It's resilience in motion. And maybe that's what people miss most when they talk about us instead of to us. You see, mental health isn't a debate topic. It's not a diagnosis to be analyzed or a label to be managed. It's human. So to those who work in the field, I respect what you do and we need you. But I hope someday you realize that no matter how many degrees or certifications you earn, you can't understand this until you've felt it, until it's you or someone you love. That's when the theory becomes truth. That is when the empathy stops being a word and starts being a heartbeat. This has been When the Mask Falls, episode 19. For everyone who's ever felt unseen in a room full of people who claim to understand, you're not alone. Some of us really do get it completely.